Hello everyone. Today we are going to review a movie called Barely Lethal. I guess this was kind of sort of like a hidden gem on Netflix, or at least I'd never heard of it. And it just kind of popped up one day on my list to watch. So I thought, oh, it's got Jessica Alba and Samuel L. Jackson in it. It'll probably be good. And it also had Sophie Turner in it from Game of Thrones, who I think is a really good actress. So I thought, give it a shot. Anyhow, so this movie is, I think I said the title, Barely Lethal, right? Well, if I didn't, I have now. Anyhow, so this movie is about Samuel L. Jackson's character, whose name was Mr. something. Why can't I think of it? Was it Hanfield or Henfield? Hardman. Jesus. His name is Hardman, and he's basically training all these young girls to grow up to become ow, I think I just bit my tongue. Government assassins. So Haley Steinfeld and Sophie Turner's characters are Agent 83 and Agent 84. And Agent 83, Haley Steinfeld's character, starts to become, obviously as she grows up, she starts to become detached from the life she's been raised into, and she no longer wants to be an assassin anymore. So she kind of basically raises herself on, I don't know what you would really call it, but like pop culture movies and things. So like she learns like about high school and outside life from movies like Mean Girls, and there were other ones. Seemed to be a lot of like romantic comedies or comedy movies teaching her about life. I'm not really sure what other kind of movies she would have watched, but those seemed to be the ones that were out front and center in this movie anyway. So eventually they're going on this mission to find this woman named Knox, who's played by Jessica Alba, and when they catch her, she detaches herself from the rope before Knox can shoot her, and she falls into the water, and instead of saying that she's okay, back up to Hardman, she just disconnects herself and decides to basically pretend that she's dead and go find a new life. So she's looking for a family to get into as a foreign exchange student named Megan. And she's from Canada. So she goes into high school. It's not exactly what she thought it would be. She's basically basing her whole entire life off of what she's seen in the movies. So she decides to go after the popular guy Chase, who's the lead singer of a band. And her friend's name was Howard, I do believe. Just let me... Why can't I find him? Oh, geez, his name was Roger Howard. I don't know how I made that connection. Anyhow, so her sister's name is Liz. Her new mother's name is Mrs. Larson. And her brother's name... He always called himself Ninja, but he did have an actual name. Parker. His name was Parker. So she kind of, at first, she's kind of like the outsider of the family, and she's obviously making weird remarks in school and things because of her background. So everybody asks her if she's from a military family, and I don't think she ever answered that question, did she, in this movie? I don't think she did. I don't think she ever said anything about her family. She just kind of like pushed it by the wayside whenever she was asked about her past. She just said that her parents died when she was very young, and then her foster family took her in and never really gave her a choice with her life because, well, as we all know, her foster family was Hardman, and he just took her in to train her to become an assassin as an adult. So obviously there wasn't much choice in there. She was bred to be a certain person and feel a certain way. And there was one thing that Hardman's rule was that you weren't supposed to have any attachments outside of your life. Because obviously if you have attachments, you're going to get an emotional connection, and nobody wants that. Obviously if you're in the assassin business, you're supposed to be focused on what you're doing and not on anything else, right? Just keep to yourself sort of thing. So eventually, even though Liz is at first kind of reluctant to let uh, Megan in, because that's what she changed her name to, she eventually starts to kind of feel some sort of remorse for her as the rest of the school decides that it's a great idea to make fun of the new foreign exchange student. So eventually, Liz and her become really close, especially after Liz finds out Megan's true identity, and Agent 84, Heather, who we find out is a double agent, comes in and decides that she is going to destroy Agent 83's life, or Megan's life, and we find out she's a double agent also working for, and why can't I think of her name all of a sudden? Also working for Knox, sorry, it's just slipped my mind, also working for Knox, and Hardman thinks that she had died when Knox was escaping, so he realizes that some bad shit is about to happen. So basically, he says to Megan that she's on her own if she doesn't come back to the agency that she was working for. And why can't I think of the name of the agency? It started with a P. Oh, the Prescotts, that's it. It just came to me. So she doesn't go back to the Prescotts. She's 100% on her own. She has to make that decision for herself. So she decides that she's going to stay. There's a car chase scene between Heather, Agent 84, and Agent 83, Megan. And Liz is in the car with her when they get into an accident, and she smells the perfume that Heather was wearing. So she decides, she then knows that Heather is a double agent. So she goes back to Hardman and says this, and then that's when they find out, and obviously by this point Knox has escaped, so they can't find Knox. Eventually Knox finds God, so many names. I'm trying to. Eventually Knox finds Megan, or Agent 83, and tells her that she was the very first Prescott agent, so 001. But obviously Knox went rogue and decided to become a terrorist instead of doing good and taking out the bad guys. She became one of the bad guys because she doesn't think that Hardman cared about her enough. But at the end of the movie, Hardman comes back and saves her, saves Megan, or Agent 83, and Agent 84 ends up escaping. So at the end, there's kind of like this cliffhanger scene where now Heather, or Agent 84, is looking for Megan, Agent 83. So maybe there'll be a second movie to this, I don't know. I doubt it because it's been 5 years, but I mean, sometimes sequels take a long time to make, but I doubt it because this movie was kind of B-rated in some certain situations, and it was really odd that the whole, well, I guess it wasn't odd, it kind of made sense that she was escaping from her life that she didn't want. But overall, this movie wasn't bad. I would give it a 6 out of 10 because it wasn't really my favorite movie, and some of the acting was a little weird, especially certain scenes where they're like in the bedroom checking out all the weapons and stuff. I'm like, normal people probably wouldn't do that, and I'm sure if it was real life, Liz definitely would have said, hey, by the way, my sister's a secret agent, like we should probably figure this out as to what we're going to do with her, sort of thing. But hey, it's a movie, so overall the movie was good. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, just because there were certain flaws with it. And yeah, some of the, I guess it was sort of like more like a teen movie, maybe, in a sense, even though the secret agent stuff was in there. It did have lots of action, because there was a huge fight scene in the school between Agent 83 and Agent 84 at the very end. But other than that, it had comedy in it too, a little bit of comedy, so that was always good. I guess sort of the teenage lingo has changed over the years, so I'm not really up to date with it because I'm way past my, well, not way past, but I'm past my teenage years for sure now. So anyhow, yeah, there was some language in here that I kind of went, whoa, I guess this isn't necessarily geared towards the teenage crowd, or maybe it is. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't really say much because the way I talked when I was a teenager wasn't really far off from this, I suppose, at certain times. So, hey, all the more power to you. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for this movie. And I think that's all I have to say for this film. So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. It's 5 years old, so I'm sure a few people have at least. But it was kind of like a hidden gem, so I would still recommend this film, even though my rating was not as high as some of the films that I watch. But there were flaws in this movie as far as I was concerned, so I hope I touched on enough of them anyway. But still go watch this film, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.